Time to rev up your chainsaws. Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to the Chainsaw Man Reze Arc movie. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I don't know if I've ever actually heard it pronounced. Reze, Rez? I don't know. Um, but yeah, this is the Chainsaw Man movie. I've been waiting for this since it was announced. We have not gotten any news of a season 2 to my knowledge yet, and I'm very excited to hopefully see more eventually. But I guess this next arc wasn't long enough for a full bit in a season, so they decided to just make a movie out of it, which is like progressively more and more of a thing. I've noticed in a lot of manga slash anime adaptations. Um, a lot of adaptions are now adapting entire arcs into movies more often, and it's just like, I'm not really about that. I don't think all of these anime need movies. Just have them be like a couple episodes in an arc or in a season. You can do that. Or if you don't want to mess with the flow, just have it be like a special, like the Reze special for Dr. Stone. Have it be something like that. You don't need a full theatrical film. You really don't. But we got it anyways, and so I'm very curious to see what we have in store here. I don't know what to expect. I don't know anything about the story, but I do know of the character of, again, Reze, however you say her name. I believe she was shown at the very end of season 1 in a post-credit, and I've seen images of her, I've seen memes of her. I know vaguely who she is in terms of, like, I guess the greater scale of things. I don't know any details about like her personality or her character outside of that. It's just like, I know what Reze is, and if you know Chainsaw Man, you know what I mean by that. I'm assuming. But that's like the extent of my knowledge really with this. I don't know anything, again, plot related. I don't know, like, what is going to happen in any way. I haven't learned anything. I've stayed away from all trailers. I don't know what to expect. So there's really not much to say going into this. I did really love season 1. Clearly enough to where I got this Pochita. So yeah. I've also cosplayed as Makima. And I've met her voice actress, the English dub voice actress. So, fun. But yeah, it's it was really good. It was really good, and I think it's one of the more like adult oriented new gen anime that like really impressed me. And so I'm hoping that we do get a season 2 announcement at some point soon. If we haven't already, and I just haven't heard somehow. But for now, we're going to check out this movie. This is a donation reward for Venom, by the way, so thank you, Venom. Although I was going to do this week anyway, Venom just happened to donate for it, like, after I had already decided I was going to react to this, so it just worked out, basically. But yeah, I was going to do this just because I noticed it had come onto streaming, and I wanted to react to this when it came out, like, from the get-go. Either way, I think we should just get to it then. I think we should check it out and hope for the best, see what we have in store. So let's get going. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in three, two, one, now. So, yeah, it seems like at the end there, with her running towards the cafe and everything, it was clear that Reze was going to, um, she was going to take Denji up on that final offer to leave, but then Makima and Angel got involved at the last minute, and it's I think pretty clear that she just did want a sense of normalcy. See, I was questioning the entire thing about like, oh, she's not really a fiend. She's like a devil, but she's also human. I forgot to think about like hybrids. That completely skipped my mind. She's like Denji. She's a hybrid. Um, but all in all, the point is still she was this orphaned girl who was taken by the Russian government and like just molded into this like super soldier kind of thing. She's like Black Widow in a way. Um and whether I guess we don't know like whether it being shut down or her escaping or whatever else, maybe because she became the hybrid with Bomb Devil, she was able to get out of that and eventually started working with the Gun Devil, and that set her on the path to meeting up with Denji. I guess the idea is that the Gun Devil like wanted her to get the Chainsaw Devil's heart, and so she met up with Denji and was initially planning on like betraying him. The entire spider in with the butterfly in the web thing. But through this, she did end up falling in love with him. Like that was very clearly real. Even Denji, who's like dumb as bricks, like called her out on her bullshit at the end. She's like, "Oh, I didn't actually love you. It was all ruse." And then she's like, "Bullshit." Like I'm slower than molasses when it comes to my brain power, and even I could tell that that's a lie. But yeah, it's very clear that she fell in love with him, um, and he fell in love with her, and he was gonna run away with her. That's why he was waiting there with the flowers and all. Like that it was actually going to happen, and that's definitely why Makima stopped it, because she wants to continue to manipulate and control Denji. That seems to be her thing. I talked about this in my season 1 reactions as well. She's definitely like, I don't know if she's a hybrid as well, or a fiend or whatever, but she's definitely like to some degree a devil, and she's her powers, which by the way at the end there I realized that was Angel's powers and all, more so than hers, but still, um her powers are still pretty insane, and her entire thing is manipulating people. We've seen that multiple times in the first season, and we see it here for sure as well. So she found out somehow through or that Denji was going to run away, and she put a stop to it. Instead of going after Denji, she decided, oh, I can still use him, I can still manipulate him. If Reze just doesn't show up, he'll continue to be loyal to me. And so instead she took out Reze with Angel's help. Angel, though, didn't seem too happy about it because he's connecting with Aki, and we can see that that like he's gaining a little bit of humanity too. Because at the end we see Angel say like, "I am an angel," in reference to like what he did and all. But like earlier in the film, he said like, "I'm an angel, but I'm also a devil." He made a point of that. But it's very clear that he and Aki connecting and becoming friends is changing him. And it's changing Aki too, because Aki says earlier on in the film that like he would never be friends with a devil, and he considers fiends devils. But then he goes out of his way, sacrificing months of his life to save Angel. Aki's changing just as well, and I love that. I love the character development. Getting to see that in action. Um, I like Beam in this as well. He's basically just Barto from One Piece. For those who don't know, there's a character in One Piece named Bartolomeo the Cannibal, and Barto for short. He is Luffy's biggest fanboy, and basically the entire Straw Hat crew, but especially Luffy. And he basically just goes around screaming out Luffy Senpai constantly. And that's basically what Beam is. He's going around screaming out like Lord Chainsaw. It's basically the same thing as Luffy Senpai. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised he wasn't just saying Chainsaw Senpai. I guess maybe not completely the right tone for a series like this, but still. I wish we had more Kishibe in this because I really like Kishibe, but I also understand why he wasn't. This felt like a more like secluded thing, rather. Like like even with the fact that we didn't have power throughout most of this movie because she was getting her blood drained, it makes sense. It's more centered around Denji and Reze. Like you don't even get a huge amount of Makima outside of the movie date moment. And you get a little bit more of Aki, but that's because Aki's time is limited, and we're also seeing how he and Angel are growing. That's kind of the B plot to this, with, of course, Denji and Reze being the A plot. You also have this assassin, or not assassin, serial killer guy with the Typhoon Devil, who's just kind of thrown in there basically just to show Reze, to show her true nature for the first time. He's just there to be a victim for her. But I like when she starts to or when he starts to threaten, like skinning her face and poking out her eyeballs and stuff. You see how her expression goes from scared and confused to like very serious. Her eye is twitching. It feels like a moment where she's like realizing it's like I have to actually like show my true nature. She's been enjoying her time with Denji so much, and by this point her like having to be the bomb devil, having to be like this super soldier that she was raised and manipulated to be, she didn't want that. She was finding hope and happiness with Denji, just being able to be a girl. It's like what she says by the end. It's like she wishes she could have just gone to school with him too. She wishes she could have had an ordinary life. The same kind of thing that Denji strives for. This is why I hate when people who have never watched the series especially, but even especially people who have, try to say like Denji is just a gross perverted dude and everything. And it's like that is a horrible reading of his character. That is like you not understanding Denji at all. The perversion aspect is because he's a stupid, horny teenager. But more than that, it's because this is someone who has never had a real life. He grew up in such a way where he never experienced most foods. He's never experienced what it's like to have a friend, a girlfriend, any of that. That's why he craves that stuff more than anything. Because he's never had the bare basics of being alive. And that is Denji's character. Someone who just wants to be human. Someone who just wants to be a regular ass person. It pisses me off, honestly. Like I said, when especially people who would never even gave the show a chance, just judge it based on what they've heard other people say. But it also bothers me when people who have watched the show also say that, because it's like, you're not paying attention. But Reze is the same, and that's why I'm bringing this up, because Reze is very much the same. Like Denji, she grew up in a way that a regular life, a regular childhood was denied her. She was unable to live a regular human life. And when she finally got a taste of that, she finally got the opportunity to see what that was like by spending time with Denji. She fell in love with him because of it. And mind you, you can argue all you want about whether or not that love is healthy because it's born out of an innate desire for closeness that she's never had. It's not really like, it's not what you would normally think of as a healthy love. You know what I mean? It's very much, she's attached to him because he's like the first person who's ever been nice to her. It's really fucking sad. But at the same time, it's like, it's not healthy. I would personally say. And you could argue this kind of debate on whether or not it is, and whether or not like a relationship like that would even work out. You could argue that to the moon and back. Um, and sometimes, like in real life, stuff like that can work out. Sometimes it doesn't. It's kind of up in the air from everything I've heard people say about it who've gone through it and known people who's gone through it. Um, Not to obviously this necessary degree, but you know what I mean. Rize had the chance to actually live a normal life, and she's young, clearly. I don't know her exact age, but I would say she's probably not that much older than Denji. I would say at absolute most, she's still under 20. I would say she's 19 at most. Um, I would definitely say she's older than Denji. I'd say, like, yeah, about 18, 19. Um, but her love for him is definitely built on that closeness because no, she's never had that kind of relationship with anyone. And so it's one of those cases where she just craves that kind of feeling of happiness, of some level of, you know, kindness. And that's really the heart of this movie, and that's why I like kind of got affected by that in the end because I realized that like she was broken, she was hurt. And I do wonder still, I mentioned this in the reaction, I do wonder if her using her powers hurts her. Because if so, that's even fucking worse, and that makes me even sadder. Because if she feels the pain of those explosions every time, that's horrific for so many reasons. To have gone through the hell she did growing up, to have like found someone who she can connect to and care about, only to then have to put herself through that hell in this like grandiose, insane fight, constantly exploding over and over and over again. It's like that's hell. And like when she's fighting and when she is trying to kill Denji and does kill all these other devil hunters and stuff and all these innocent civilians who get caught up in her blasts, that is definitely the super soldier coming out of her. That is what she has been trained to do. It is the bomb devil that she is hybridized with. It is not Rize. And I think that's the biggest, most important part of this. This is a series that touches on these characters suffering, facing horrible situations, being put in horrible situations where they lose people they love, where people manipulate and mistreat them. It's a world that is out to get you. And we see this through Denji throughout most of the series. Um, we see this through Rize in this film. We see it through the likes of Kobeni, who just really doesn't want to do this, but is, you know, good at it, so she feels like she has no other choice. We see this through Aki, who has like done this out of a pure sense of revenge for his family's murder at the hands of the Gun Devil. It's like so many of these characters have just faced such horror. And sometimes they die having like faced that horror and not being able to get through it. Sometimes they just lose. They don't have a happy ending. Look at Himeno. It's just it's not always going to work out. And it's a very dour, it's a very heartbreaking like viewpoint. And my hopes for the series as a whole is that it would end with Denji actually finding happiness and breaking that cycle of pain, that cycle of abuse, that cycle of trauma that him and all these other characters have gone through. I want him to finally find happiness, whatever that entails. Like true happiness, not this shallow view of it that he has through the likes of Makima and everything. Not just having the bare necessities, but having like something that makes him truly happy. That's what I would want with the end of this series. And I would expect to have there be a lot of pain to get there, a lot of suffering, a lot of loss. But that would be the ideal ending for this, for a series like this. To push against the oppressive world that is trying to dismantle like everyone in it, mentally, physically, emotionally, and to just break that down and for Denji to actually be happy. That would, I think, be the ideal ending. Um, Outside of just story and character stuff, I also really love the music. I talked about this in the reaction. Like the music was so good. Every single like soundtrack hit perfectly for the scene. Sometimes it would like switch songs in the middle of a scene. Like at one point it like ramped up the action during the scene and it suddenly switched to like this really heavy metal song and it was like, "Oh, that's just so cool." It just switched up exactly when it needed to. When the previous song wasn't like heavy enough. And it's like that's just really good. The animation of course was on point. It's Mappa. We expect that. I also worry that Mappa is, mistreating their animators, but unfortunately, that's something that happens in a lot of anime studios in Japan. It's terrible. And Mappa is known for being really bad at that, so I don't know if we're really going to be able to, like, do anything besides, like, continue to speak out against, like, terrible workplace environments like that. It's just, I think that's just how the industry is over there, and it sucks, and it shouldn't be, but still. Um, but yeah, I really obviously thought the animation was phenomenal. The voice acting was just as good as ever. The art style, though, I do want to talk about that, like separate from the animation. The art style was a little different. Like the character, like models looked pretty much the same, but I don't know if you noticed, like and I don't know if it's just because it was the movie, but the color work, especially on like every character, was a lot flatter and a lot more like solid, for lack of a better word. It was like a solid color with some shading, and that's it. Instead of having more dynamic coloring like the series had. I don't know how to describe it. I'm not good with that kind of stuff, but it felt like that to me. It felt like the color work was very different. On top of that, just the style in general felt like outside of like the very stylistic moments during the action sequences, it felt like they really changed it up. And I know there was a lot of complaints when the first season came out of people saying that it didn't quite capture the feeling of the manga being like super dark and gritty and the anime being more cinematic. But this didn't feel dark and gritty. It except for one shot. There was the single shot when, like, again, Reze was on the roof with the serial killer, and it showed her like suddenly like her expression and personality shift, showed her eye twitching. That one shot was a lot darker and grittier than the rest of this film. It felt very out of place, but honestly, with what that was trying to clearly express, makes sense. Um, but yeah, it's like this, like, felt like it went further into the direction that people, I guess, some people at least, didn't like. It definitely felt like almost cartoonish, like not like like anime usually is, but like more like Western cartoonish in terms of its style comparatively. I mean, it was still very clearly anime, but you with the color work, with the way the line work was done, I guess, and everything, the shading, it there was a lot of moments that felt more like a Western cartoon. Um, though when it really started doing the stylization stuff during the action sequences, it really went ham on those moments. Like there were so many different kinds of stylization as well, and that was really fascinating to me too. They like changed it up many times throughout the second half of the movie, I guess. But even like during parts in the first half, it felt like they were changing it up a little bit here and there. Um, I I really liked just everything about this. If I were to compare it to like all of season one, I don't I don't know if I'd say it's like better or worse or even like on the same level. Um I did get obviously attached to Reze like very quickly, and I did like care about what was happening with Denji and Aki and Angel and stuff. Um Obviously with the first season there's more going on, there's more content, there's more happening. But I guess like I said in the pre-thoughts, they just didn't there wasn't enough material here for them to want to like add it to the to see a season 2. They decided to make it like just a film instead of like, I don't know how many episodes would this probably end up having been, like 6, maybe 6 or 7 episodes. I feel like this could have just been in the season, but maybe the next arc would end up like making the timeline weird, and they would have to like pull a Dan and cut like the season off in the middle of the arc. Um, I don't know like what the deal with that would be, but yeah, it just feels like this could have been, this absolutely could have been regular episodes. It didn't feel like it needed to be a movie, but the higher budget and the animation and everything did help like balance things out. I guess it helped make it feel special, more special than it otherwise would have. I did really like it. I did really love this film. It definitely lived up to the hype that people had been talking about, like for those who had seen it in theaters and whatnot. And it really makes me hopeful and excited for a possible season 2 of the anime to come out. I want news on that, you know? I want season 2 because we definitely could use more of this series. It's so good. So, that all being said, tell me in the comments below what you thought of Chainsaw Man the movie, Rize arc. What did you think of Rize as a character? Do you think I'm reaching with some of my thoughts on it? Because I'm like saying a lot of like what I think is kind of going on with like Rize's character, and like a lot of like things like that, the depths of the story. But I mean, I don't know what the actual intention here is. I might just be grasping for straws based on how I'm reading the situations, because of my own experiences or whatnot. But let me know if you agree with my findings, I guess you could say. um, Either way, thank you so much. Uh, I'm Connie, and yeah, I'm signing off. This before I sign off, I just realized this is the last like non-holiday special movie reaction of the year, because after this we have one more holiday special this weekend, and then we have the one on Christmas Eve, and that's it. That's the last movie for the year. So This is the last non-holiday special movie reaction for 2025. Movies will obviously resume in 2026, still be weekend things, so no worries about that. Um, but yeah, just wanted to mention that real quick as well while we were at it. But once again, let me know your thoughts down below. I'm Connie. Now I really am signing off. See you all next time.